Okay, so it's time for this A to Z mini rework, my thoughts, ideas, changes, so on and so forth. Now, I have already recorded this, already done it, and then of course, somehow the recording messed up. I hit stopped recording. At first, my screen froze for half a second, so I was like, okay, and the button didn't fully go through. I then clicked it again, and this time it stopped recording. I then went to my recording and realized it only recorded about like a quarter of what I recorded. So it's a bit of a problem. So this is probably going to be a little bit more faster, I'm going to say. Damage magic, yes. Style magic, insanely, yes, because his auto attacks are literally casts. Like they have time for each auto, so don't do anything besides magic. Difficulty 2, yes, actually. I would say yes, this is very true. Damage 3, utility 2. To be truthful, I really don't think he needs the utility 2. The only thing that's really utility about him is his alt and sort of his E, but his E is the only utility for himself, and his alt really isn't utility, it's more of just damage. Besides that, everything else is understandable. He does have one form of crowd control, but one form isn't enough to give him two, so yeah. Okay, the Harbinger of Oblivion. Karthus is an undying spirit whose haunting songs are a prelude to the horror of his nightmarish appearance. The living fear the eternia of death, undeath, but Karthus sees only beauty and purity in its embrace, a perfect union of life and death. When Karthus emerges from the Shadow Isles, it is to bring the joy of death to mortals, and apostle of the unliving. So, originally, I think this is actually really cool lore. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that he doesn't actually like sing. The only time he sort of sings is when he ults, and that's not really singing. I actually want him to like sing every time he does anything. And it doesn't have to be something big, it can just be like a little hum of some sort, but I want him to sing because he is the Death Singer after all. And he legitimately does sing. Like even in his lore, it talks about him actually singing. Like you could try to get like a symbolic meaning for it, but he does sing. So we have his abilities: Death Defied. Upon dying, Karthus enters a spirit form that allows him to continue casting spells for 7 seconds. I like how it says he's undying, and yet he physically does die. Lay Waste. Karthus unleashes a laid blast at a location, dealing damage to nearby enemies. Wall of Pain. Karthus creates a passable screen of leeching energy. Any enemy unit that walks through the screen have their movement speed and magic resist reduced for a period. Defile. Karthus passively steals energy from his victim, gaining mana on each kill. Alternatively, Karthus can surround himself in the souls of his prey, dealing damage to nearby enemies, but quickly draining his own mana. Requiem. After channeling for 3 seconds, Karthus deals damage to all enemy champions. Okay, so as I was trying to say, I said this last time I recorded, that I do not know how I would change Karthus. Karthus is very weak early game. His Qs don't do much damage. His W doesn't slow, nor is it that big. His E really doesn't do that much damage. His alt is a very, very long cooldown. It is like 2.5 minutes, and it really doesn't do enough damage that unless they're like beneath 5% HP, it's not going to kill. And his alt only helps him when he's in a bad lane. When he's in a farm lane, it's not going to help him at all, especially if he's in like a ranged lane, because then they'll be able to kill him from a distance, and he won't even be able to touch them with his passive. So I was saying that like the only way to fix him, essentially, is to make his late game worse by decreasing his late game scalings, but make his early game better by increasing his early game scalings. But then at the same time, this could be a bit of a problem. I did not come up with any actual changes to Karthus. Now, I did the exact same thing with Azir and Bard, where I was like, I think these champions are fine the way they are. Just because of how much skill and all this other stuff that goes into him. But Karthus, I really don't think that way about. I do not think he is fine the way he is. I just genuinely cannot think of a change to him. I do not know what I would change about him in order to make him not necessarily balanced, because I don't think he's unbalanced, But I think that he's both weak and strong at the same time, and I like that, but I also dislike that because he's a very situational pick in general. Like, even when you are playing as him, he is just super situational. He's really not good in any team comp. He's not the type of champion that you can just pocket pick and it will go well. He's more of a type of champion of you're either picking because you hard counter whoever you're against, or your entire team has really good synergy. If you're not picking for either of those two reasons, you're probably not going to win that game because Karthus on his own really isn't that insanely strong. As I said, like early game he does no damage, and late game he does a ridiculous amount of damage. But if you like aren't doing good enough early game and your team doesn't synergize well enough with you, they can just murder you faster than you can do anything. So I do not have any major changes for Karthus because of these reasons. Um, if anything, I would maybe change his passive a bit more, but this is a bit of a buff. Or not his passive specifically, his E's passive, to where killing things gives mana. But I'd also make it so that, like, upon him killing things, he stacks. Now, upon him getting stacks with his E, like, whenever he kills anything, whether it's through an auto attack or a Q or his ult, he'll automatically gain 1 stack no matter what it is. And then for every 1 stack he has, it'll kind of be like a Vigor passive, to where his other abilities, like his Q and his ult, and like something like that, will do slightly more damage. But then upon him using his E will do increased more damage, but it will actually burn his stacks like slowly, or maybe at like a pretty fast rate, but it'll do a lot more damage. Like your Q and your R will they will do like a half more damage for every stack you have, but your E will do like 2 damage for every stack you have as it slowly burns down. So something like that would maybe increase his capabilities early game, because he could try not to die, and like it won't burn your stacks from being in your passive form. Like if you're in your passive form and you're using your E because it automatically activates, it will not burn your stacks, but it will still do the increased damage. So basically just don't use your E unless you really want to just murder the heck whoever you're against. But yeah, like something along that line. Oh, well, then you'd have to have like a max of stacks at some point, but still. But just still, that's the only real change that I can come up with him. And to be truthful, I don't really like that change either, because I think that it's just a bit weak and strong at the same time, that it's not that great of a change for him. So yeah, I'm very sorry. This is just one of the champions that I do not like the way he is, and I would like to change him, but I do not know what I could do to change him. Then we have his skins. I don't know why I clicked on his alt. Karthus. Phantom Karthus I think is stupid. I think it's the same thing as his other skin, but worse looking. I think his base skin looks better than Phantom Karthus. So I'm going to give this one a 3. 3 out of 10. I love Statue of Karthus just because it's based off the Statue of Liberty for like no other reason. I think it looks okay as it is, but just because I just like it. Yeah. So I'm going to give it a solid 6 out of 10 because I just like it. Grim Reaper Karthus, I think the skin looks stupid, not gonna lie. Like, I understand he's supposed to be the Grim Reaper, and to be truthful, I think they did a very good job of just making him look like the Grim Reaper. He just doesn't look cool, though. Like, he just is the Grim Reaper. He has a skull face, a normal robe, and a cool-looking scythe. That's it. I would add more to that in some way, shape, or form, because as is, like, it's stupid. I'll give it slightly above, like, the Phantoms. Actually, no, I'll rate it the same thing, 3 out of 10. No. Pentakill. I think that it does look cool, but I don't love it. I like it, but I don't love it. I'm going to do the same thing as Statue of Liberty, 6 out of 10. I I don't know why. I just don't like the look of it. I do think it is cool, but I don't like the look of it. Same with Fnatic. I don't really like the look of this one. I think that it is sort of cool, but I don't like the look of it. So I'm only gonna give it another 6 out of 10 with the others. Now, Karthus Lightsbane. I love this skin. I think it looks cool. I like the changes that they've done to Karthus on it. Not just the fact that he is like an actual human, but like just the hair looks better. The hair like looks as if it belongs to him. Yeah, it looks like disgusting and stringy and bad, but that's like the whole point of it. His armor, I think, looks nice, but it's not too much. It's not too little, but it's not too much. It just flows really well. I like the changes that they did to like his book and the stat, like making them just work different. I really like this skin in general, and I'll give it a solid like 8.5 or 9 out of 10. I really just like the skin, and I think that they did a great job on this skin particularly. But the rest of the skins are pretty mediocre. So yeah, that was Karthus the Deathsinger. I wish I had more for him, to be completely honest. But I don't. I wish I had more reworks and other ideas for him. And all I really have is that one idea for his E. And to be truthful, I came up with that after I recorded the other one, so I'm kind of glad that the recording messed up because I came up with that. But still, I do not know what you could do to change Karthus to like make him something that I would be okay with. Um so yeah, I'm sorry. This is one of the few people that I'm not okay with the way they are, but I don't know how to change it. I do not know how to fix it. So yeah, I'm going to thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below, maybe subscribe, maybe hit on notifications, maybe come back, watch another mini rework, A to Z, whatever. Whatever. But yeah, if you agreed with anything that I said, even though it was really just one thing on his E, please leave a comment down below. Yeah, if you have any ideas that you would like to change on Karthus because you are better at this than me, because yeah, I can't come up with anything, then also please leave it down below in the comments. I'd love to get some like constructive criticism both for you and me for whatever ideas you have. And I'm going to thank you all very much for watching, and I'm going to bid you all adieu. Goodbye.